Hello and welcome to today's event, Why Haven't We Learned from Project Failures Yet? We are delighted that you can join us today. I am Shanice Mitchell-Cox, your host for today's exciting discussion. Please do feel free to let us know your name and the city you're joining from in the chat, and we will try and feature you throughout this event. Today, we are asking a crucial question. Why haven't we learned from project failures yet, even when the principles and methods are well known? This event will look beyond the usual do's and don'ts. So let's jump straight in to meet our panel. I am delighted to introduce our first guest, Mida Mollet. Mida is a lecturer in project management at Utrecht University of Applied Science. With a background in civil engineering, she obtained her PhD in project management of engineering projects at the Delft University of Technology. I'm delighted that you can be on the panel today. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Wonderful. And our second guest for today is Antonio Nieto Rodriguez. He is a global authority on project management and the most published author on the topic in Harvard Business Review. He's also a chairman of PMO and is the current vice president of APM. I'm delighted that you can be here today, Antonio.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. And our third panelist for today is Jaap van Dergel, sorry, apologies about that. Jaap serves on the board of the Best Practice User Group and is the developer of WISP Project Management Certification. It is an honour to have you as a guest today, Jaap.
Thank you, Janice. Janice, nice to be here.
It's wonderful to have you and thanks for joining us. And finally, our fourth panellist for today is Richard Farrow. Richard Farrow is the founder and CEO of APMG.
Thank you for that very short introduction and welcome to all my fellow panelists.
We are delighted to have you all here. Thank you so much, especially all of you that are joining us today as well. So I would like you to invite everyone to participate and submit questions for our panelists today. So if you could head over to the Q&A section on the Zoom bar right at the bottom, you can submit your questions and we will deliver you live answers from the experts. So get your questions in early as we have a lot to cover today. We also have our social team over in the chat. Like I said, please do introduce yourself and let us know your name and the city that you are watching from. Now, let's move straight into the first question. So, after 20 years of research, insights, and lessons learned, project success rates have not significantly improved. Why do you think this is the case? This is a great question, Nathaniel. I'm sure the panelists are going to get their hands up first. So whoever puts their hand up first, I will come straight to you. Brilliant. So Antonio and then Richard.
My views is that first that number, the number of project failure is a bit vague because what is success? We have not defined exactly what success means for different people. Success are different things, but overall there's a trend that we're not as successful as we should be as a profession. And why? I think because we've not evolved as a profession, we've not evolved with our methods, we've not evolved with our mindset. So we'll discuss that throughout the webinar, but that's kind of my views. The good thing is that we can improve that, and we're going to discuss that here.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Richard, if you'd like to give your answer now too.
I think I do agree with Antonio, but I also think there's a question about how we define projects. So too many things currently are defined as a project that are delivered by non-project managers, and in particular, sponsors who don't understand how to be sponsors. I think if you looked at the organizations whose business is delivering projects, they have improved. But generally, we have these large numbers. And I think the fault is not of the project manager. I think it's more to do with the project sponsor and our inability to define and set the scope of projects accurately. Plus, we focus on single point estimating rather than a range. So it's very hard to hit a single point target sometime into the distance.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much, Richard. Maida?
Yes, I think apart from the fact that success can be very subjective, I think it's very important to understand that we cannot put the performance of projects in a like success or failure. It's a spectrum, so it can be for some people it can be success or failure. And the other point is that the learning part. So failure from one project can lead to success to the other projects. So I think that the form that we measure success should be changed.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And Jaap, if you'd like to finish us off on this question.
Yes, a lot is already said, but I think if you look at all the surveys, you couldn't be very pessimistic about the success rate. The surveys most of the surveys don't cover more than 20,000 respondents or 20,000 projects, and we do much more projects. The good news is that more companies are adopting projects for changing something in the organization. But they have to learn. And I think one of the things where we can improve is that we make more available for others who are in the process of learning how to apply project management. Let's say that, that is, I think, the most important for now. I think the other topic will be addressed, but it is just sharing knowledge, and there is a lot available, but most of the companies don't know where to find it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And Nathaniel, I hope you have got the answers from the panelists today. So thank you for submitting the first question. We're going to move on now to the next question. This is coming from Marcus. If we already know the common causes of project failure, why are the same mistakes still being repeated across organizations? Maida, if you would like to go first.
I think the first important reason for me is the fact that some professionals, they have what we call in the literature as uniqueness bias. So they think that their project is very unique and they cannot learn from other projects. But the fact is that they can learn a lot from not only projects within their own organization, but from projects in other organizations in the sector or in outside the sector. So I think the first important reason is the uniqueness bias of professionals.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Jaap?
Yes, I think everybody running projects and doing projects is learning. And as a team, you can learn from others, and a team can benefit from the experience from other team members. But even if we are willing to learn from others, we have to deal with the other stakeholders, and the sponsors, the other stakeholders. The fact that most of the time projects are started too late, so everybody is in a hurry. So I think there is much more. The reasons for failing are more from outside the project team than inside the project team.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And Richard, if you'd like to finish us off on this question.
I don't think we're honest enough. When at the end of the project, we do a lot of work about sort of project closeout reports and what went wrong, but we never really sort of share the real detail of it. It usually ends up with a very trite comment about we didn't start early enough, it was over budget, it took too long, we didn't have the right team. But we don't really look into the root causes of that failure or that lack of success on the project and share them. And I think, as Maida says, we don't share the information. You know, people have reams and reams of lessons learned reports, but they're locked away in a cupboard somewhere. They don't really get them out and share them across the team, and certainly don't share them outside of their own organization. So we have the information, some people know about it, some people take that learning on to the next project, which is usually, but our project is different, we got to start again. So we're not honest with ourselves about learning the lessons and then sharing them and carrying them forward.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Richard. Antonio, I see you've raised your hand, so you can jump in now.
So I want to be blunt, but without hurting. But I don't think we have, as a profession, the guts to take ownership, to stand up and say, this project belongs to me and I need to make it a success, regardless if I'm in a middle position. A project manager is the owner of the project. It's not just the one that delivers on time and on budget, if possible, but it has to deliver the value. And like Richard said before, if there's no sponsor, a project manager should stop immediately the project, because we know it's going to fail 100%. So you need to have the guts to go to your CEO, say, I'm stopping the project immediately unless you put me a sponsor that is present. I stop the project immediately if we cannot work transversally cross-departmental. I know that's an issue. We don't have the guts as a profession. We take whatever we take, but we're not able to stand up in front of leadership and ask what we need from the leaders, from the organization, to make project success. So that's, I think, the biggest failure in our profession. We need to have the guts.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And as you can see, the audience are now commenting too. So we've got a comment from Toran there. Thank you so much for your comment. And we've also got another one from Arthur. One of the lack of project success has to do with the power struggle with middle management without support of higher management. So we've got a lot of people in the audience thinking and commenting here. So thank you so much for sharing your insights. We are going to actually put a poll up now. So we do want you to interact with the poll. It will just pop up on your Zoom screen now. So as you can see, this is the poll. The question is, would you be interested? I think this is the different poll. Could I just have the other poll, if that's okay, team? Here we go, like magic. In your experience, what are the main reasons for project failure? So audience, we are coming to you. If you could start submitting those votes, you've got some answers on the screen. So you can select more than one answer. And when we start getting some answers coming through, I'm hoping the poll will appear and we will see all the moving tables. So get your poll answers in. Here we go. As I was saying, so we can see them all changing around. Do any of our panelists here want to share some of their reasons or some comments around some of the answers here on the poll? So we've got 15 votes for poor planning and unrealistic timelines, all 16 now. 15 is coming up with lack of clear objectives and scopes. So we are seeing people now voting on the popular answers. We're going to leave that up for another minute or so, just so that we can make sure we've captured all of your answers. And then we are going to move on to our third question. Just as a reminder to get your live questions in so the panelists can give you your answers. Brilliant. We're going to move on now. So thank you for interacting with our poll audience. We have got a question come in from Chloe. Project management maturity is positively correlated with higher success rates. Why do you think many organizations fail to invest in increasing their maturity levels? This is a fantastic question, Chloe. Thank you for submitting that. I'm just going to wait for the panel to volunteer to go first. Richard has come to the rescue. So Richard, I'll go to you first and then to Yap.
I think there's a misunderstanding about maturity models. Not every organization has to be, most maturity models that I've seen are levels 1 to 5. Not everybody has to be level 5. So when you talk about what maturity are you, you need to work out what maturity do you need to be, and are you consistently delivering at that level? And it's very hard to convince senior management, as Antonio was saying earlier, that we don't need to be level 5. If we're level 2, that's good enough. And there was a piece of work done, I think, in Australia about 15 or 20 years ago, where Australian government departments were asked to do a maturity assessment, and the majority of them were at levels 1 and 2. And so the the government thought that was a terrible indictment, but actually level 2 maturity was about the right level for the majority of those organizations. So I think there's two questions. What level do you need to be at? And then are you consistently across all measures, rather than are you really good at one thing? And I think it's a misunderstanding about what maturity levels do. And it's also a huge misunderstanding about the time and effort it takes for an organization to move from one level to the next.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Richard. And Jaap, if you would like to jump in and answer this question.
Yes, I agree with what Richard said. I also think, and I think it's also proven that you don't need to be at maturity level 5 to have a high performance team. I think it is for most of companies impossible to reach level 5. The same like with restaurants, to have 3 Michelin stars. Why should you have 3 Michelin stars? It only gives you a lot of stress and keeps you awake and etc. And it's great that you can check what is our maturity level and what do we need based on the projects we are running. It will help, however, and I've seen quite a lot of organizations who do very complex projects while they are at a level 1 or 2 in a maturity level. And then what I then see is that many of those projects, most of those projects are not delivering what they promised to deliver. But and I think at the end it is also what pain does the management feel regarding the project performance. Is there a need to improve the performance or not? So, and there are many reasons why organizations are not investing in project management.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Jaap. And Chloe, I hope you enjoyed those answers. Thank you for submitting that question. We're going to move on to the next question because they are stacking up now. So we've got a question from Jordan. Do you think leadership commitment or lack thereof is the most crucial factor in determining project success? Why or why not? Maida, I'll come to you first.
Yes, I think that's very important. Top management support or commitment. But in line with what Antonio just described, I think that a lot of movements in the organization comes from the operational level. So the bottom-up approach towards change in the organization is also very important. Giving autonomy to people at operational level is very important, but the motivation of the people and bottom-up approach, I think it's a way forward.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Antonio, I can see that you would like to answer, so we'll head over to you now.
Obviously, this is a big issue. In project success. Leadership played, I think, 3 important roles. One is on prioritization. They determine which projects they're going to be done. Richard, you're the CEO of APMG International, so you are the one who decides, let's do less or do more, and manage that with your leadership team. So I think that's a very important, because I would say all the companies I know, they have more projects than they can do. Second, they play a big role in the sponsorship. Not every project needs a sponsor, obviously, but the bigger transformations they do. And it's not because they don't want, it's that they are used to work on running their business. Projects they're outside their comfort zone. Their comfort zone is running the business, selling, but transforming is painful. It's outside where they are in control. So people don't like usually. So leaders have the same problem. They're just too busy and they prefer to do the things they do and they know than the things they don't know. And third, they are the ones that should be shaping the organization to be more project driven. You can call it maturity, but reducing layers of hierarchy, empowering the teams, allowing bottom-up decision making. So that's the 3 areas where my work goes. The book I'm writing is about teaching the leaders that they have a crucial role in transformation success, in project success. And while we get there, I think we as a project managers, we have the right to ask for these things. We should not be doing projects. I wish we could stop all the projects tomorrow that have the lack this, and we'll send a very strong signal to all the leaders. Hey, wake up, because 80% of the project miss some aspects of leadership. Why don't we do that, right? So next Monday, we stop every project in the world that has no leadership commitment, and we'll start getting some attention. We might do that.
Fantastic. I'm going to hand over to Richard now.
Not in APND International. I know he's worked there.
I'm not as sure as I'm as brave as Antonio thinks people should be. I think the interesting thing is the word leadership rather than leaders.
Yeah.
And I think there's a move these days, and then Antonio mentioned it, about pushing ownership and authority down through organizations. And I think everybody involved in the project needs to step up and actually help the delivery, the leadership of that project. I don't believe it should be that hierarchical approach of there is a project manager who decides everything. There needs to be much more delegation through the project team and the project participants. And without that, you will not succeed.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, panel. They were some fantastic answers. And as you can see here, the audience are loving the answers that you are giving. So that's just a reminder to you, audience, remember to get those questions in so we can get you some live answers today. Talking of questions, let's move on, if that's okay. So we have a question come in from Samuel. Many organizations celebrate short-term delivery, on time, on budget, but long-term outcomes are often neglected. How can we shift the focus towards sustainable benefits? So this is a great question. Thank you for submitting this, Samuel. We will go to Richard first.
I think, this sort of encapsulates something that's already been said. It's why are you doing the project? I don't think anybody does a project for it to be delivered on time and budget. The project is delivered to deliver some benefit outcome to the organization. So if you don't have that benefit at the end of the project, what have you actually got apart from time and money spent? So it just is ridiculous if everyone is pushing for a delivery on time or delivery within a budget, and it misses the overall purpose of why you're doing it. So I just don't understand any organization that wouldn't look for the benefits after that investment. But unfortunately, there are a lot of people out there I do not understand.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Richard. Yep.
Yeah, I agree with Richard again, but I know him too long. The thing is, what I see in some organizations is that they even don't want to think about benefits, and that surprises me. They don't even want to write it. If that, can we write down what the benefits are that you want to achieve, what you gain with this project? And I'm always surprised that managers or the sponsors say that's not important. And for me, then the question raises: why is it not important for them to write down what they want to achieve? And maybe it is to do with leadership, for taking responsibilities or taking ownership of the project. If you put down what you want to achieve and the project is not succeeding to deliver what you expected, maybe people feel threatened. I don't know. But I agree, it is crazy not to discuss it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Jaap. Antonio?
I have a bit different views. I think it's aligned on the importance, but I teach a lot to project managers and people working in projects, and I give them some reasons why they should be stopping their projects. You already heard one of them, right? No sponsor. You need a sponsor. You don't have it. Stop the project immediately. Another of the reasons I tell project managers to stop their project immediately is if they don't have a benefit plan. Gantt charts are nice and we love them, but Gantt charts don't tell you when the benefits will deliver. Business case, it's too complicated of a document, but there should be, for every major project, medium project, there should be a benefit plan which looks like a Gantt chart, but just with benefits, the benefits that we're going to deliver with a date and with a number. If your benefits don't have a date and a number, don't call them benefits. You're just lying to yourself. Benefits have to be measurable. Otherwise, you cannot assess whether you succeeded or not. So if we switch our Gantt charts, which I think we all love, and I'm not saying throw them to the bin, but keep them for yourself and your team, and you move to benefits plan, the way leadership looks at your project is going to change radically. And the discussion is not going to be around, are we on time and on budget? The discussion is, how much are we saving? How much are we gaining? Can we accelerate the delivery of benefits? So I think there's a fundamental shift in the profession, and I've been advocated for some years through my publications, but I think it's in our hands to change that.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Antonio. And Maida, I can see you've got your hand up. So yeah, if you want to finish us up on this question.
Yeah, I think that I agree with what is already discussed, and the fact that it's very difficult to measure, like a very tangible measures for benefits and managing the benefits. But I think the part of the problem is already in this question, is that because projects, they have a very short period of time, and that's also based on the definition of project. And the fact that we are looking into projects as like a snapshot, it should be changed. So looking more from the organizational perspective, and what at the organizational level can be achieved in terms of benefits, this should get more priority than looking more into the snapshot of short-term projects.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, panelists. These were great answers to these questions. As we are moving on to the next questions, we have lots of live questions coming in. So we will be switching to some live questions now as well. So the next question that is coming up is Layla. How do organisational culture and resistance to change block improvements in project delivery practices? So a great question there from Layla around organisational culture and the resistance to block improvements. So I am going to go to Richard first. Thank you. And then, yeah.
Apologies for jumping in early on most questions. But I mean, I think without the right organisational culture, then I don't think you can actually deliver projects. I think Antonio's touched on it. Yeah, the organisation's actually got to believe in the project approach or not. I don't think you can actually have projects being delivered in the organisation unless there is clear support for that way of delivering change. And again, I think the resistance to change comes back to those change projects that you have within the organisation. They have to be dealt with when you come to scope it, make sure people understand what are the benefits of that project going to deliver to them, what's the impact on everybody that's going to be affected. Fundamental if you're going to actually deliver this change through projects.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Richard. Yep.
Yes, I agree. If you have the wrong culture, it will be almost impossible to deliver successful projects. People have to take responsibilities, to take ownership, etc. Things we have said already many times. It is, especially the sponsor, executive, or steering board, or project board, or whatever you want to mention it. They have to take ownership, and their behavior will be leading for the project. They have to demonstrate that they take commitment, and that they have to show leadership. If they walk away when the project is in need, then you are, as a project team, you are in big trouble. So again, culture is almost without the right culture, many projects are doomed to fail.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. We are going to move on to the questions because they are stacking up now, guys. So we've got lots of engagement in the social chat. This is such a lovely comment from Toran. Thank you so much. We will be going to the questions straight away. So as you can see, they've said they love this panel and I follow Antonio's work. My question for Antonio: many projects fail not because of technical issues, but because of people and process misalignment. From your perspective, what's the most overlooked factor that determines whether a project actually succeeds? So I'm going to go to Antonio because Toran has directly asked you if that's okay.
Sure, I need help from the team. This is a deep question.
It's a big question, isn't
Here
it?
from Toran, and good to see you, Toran. Thank you. Let me give it a try, and then I know the team has some views. What is the biggest challenge? One of the biggest, and I work on that again in my upcoming book, is that so far we've treated projects like operations. What do I mean with that? Operations are hierarchical. Decision strategy is set from the top to the bottom. Bottom follows. And that's how most transformation projects are built and executed over the last 50, 60 years. That's absolutely wrong because projects are not operations. Projects, you need buy-in from the people. So the big mistake is that we put the idea on the top and you just throw it to the people and they need to do it. The most important projects and where I think we need to move in terms of organization is bottom up and co-creation from the beginning, starting with a strong purpose. Why do we do this project? That everybody understands, that it makes sense. Second, benefits. One of the techniques I use to teach people to define benefit plan is you should, as a project leader, you should not define the benefits. Are you crazy? Why should you define the benefits of a project that you might be leading for marketing, for sales? You don't have a clue about marketing and sales, right? Let the marketing people, the sales people define the benefits, and then you create engagement. Look for volunteers. The most engaged people in a project are volunteers. So 95% of the companies I've surveyed, they appoint people to work on projects. Why? Right? So there's a fundamental shift from top down to bottom up. Once you start working bottom up, which projects are per nature bottom up, and that's what the methodologies got wrong for the last 50 years, then you'll see much more engagement, less resistance, much more buying from partners from the organization.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Fantastic answer as well. And thank you for submitting your question, Toran. Maida, if you'd like to jump in now and answer this question.
Yeah, I think I agree. But partly I disagree with the fact that projects and operations, they are totally different from each other. The fact that projects, they are unique and we cannot learn from any aspect of projects. I think that should be also some kind of mindset that should be changed. And also the fact that now there is a move towards not only projectification but also deprojectification. The fact that the operations activities can also have more predictability for the whole organization, and that point me to bring me to the point that I mentioned earlier, that we should look into the whole organization. So not only projects with short-term goal, but from a broader perspective, looking into organizations and their projects.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And Toran, I hope that's answered your question. And thank you for submitting that. If we haven't covered it, just pop a message into our social chat and we can bring it back in and try and get another answer for you. So we're going to move on to the next question now. If you just bear with me 2 seconds. We've got one from Lorenza. How much do you think change management has a role to play in this debate? Ooh, we're just waiting for some hands up now. So thank you for submitting your question, Lorenza. We've got Richard, if you'd like to come in and answer this question.
I think change management and project management these days are very, very closely related. I don't think organizations can deliver change without projects. So I think project management is the vehicle for change management. And I think change management is the question why we're doing the project. So you can debate whether it's the project or the change comes first, whether the change manager or the project manager leads it. But I think they are so closely related that organizations use projects to deliver change. And therefore, going back to the earlier conversations, the change program should define the benefits that are delivered through the project. Now, some purists might disagree with that, but that's my opening statement on this question.
Fantastic. I would like to see if there's any other panelists that would like to answer this question. Antonio, jump straight in.
Sure, I don't have an answer here. I just don't understand when we split projects from change management. I need to do a bit of research because it's not normal, because every project has change, every change has projects. So I just find it very difficult when I'm someone teaching and they say, you do the project part and somebody else is doing the change. I say, how is that possible? Change is embedded in every project from the beginning, from the business case, from even the scoping that you build WBS together. There's a lot of change there, the monitoring. So I don't know who had this idea of separating change from project management. I just think you need both. And it's just confusing sometimes for the organizations, whether we need change or projects. You need both and integrate it. So I don't have an answer. I just think somewhere it went wrong in the history because it should have never been split.
Fantastic. Lorenzo, I hope you've enjoyed that answer. Nigel, can I take the next question, please? Thank you. So we've got a question from Riaz. How can organizations instill an active learning approach and culture from past projects rather than merely stating to commit a lesson learned exercise? So, Jaap, if you'd like to jump in and...
Yes, thank you. Yes. Yeah, I was thinking about this question. I think one of the things missing, at least what I missed when I was starting my career as a project manager, is to have a mentor coach where I could go to asking him questions. Of course, I did have somebody where I could go to, which was my manager. And if I dropped a problem, he took over the problem and he sometimes took over the project, which is not the best solution, I think. So I think what we should spend more it is, I think, very beneficial to actively invest in how to mentor and how to coach younger project managers. And it is not only helping the young professional, but it's also helping the mentor. As a mentor, I did learn a lot from the young professionals who just started their career, and I'm still learning. So I think that could be a perfect way. Having a monthly meeting with where somebody presents his projects, I think it can be nice to have, but I don't think people with an overloaded agenda will appreciate to spend half a day listening to their colleagues. It needs to be much more interactive, on the spot, on the moment that you have a problem, that you can talk about it and that you find guidance.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. That was a great answer. Yeah, thank you. Maida?
Yeah, I think that it's important for the organization to have a structured approach for capturing the lessons learned. But I think the informal aspect of sharing lessons learned with other like project managers or people working in other projects, yeah, mostly overlooked. So I think that that aspect, that what Job mentioned, just have an informal discussion with other people. It could be like a very short presentation. These were the points that we had a challenge with. What do you think? And I think that's very important. And the other thing that I want to mention is that normally the organizations, they have internal lessons learned. But I think it's also important to have that inter-organizational. So have that lessons learned together with other participating organizations in the project. I think that will be more effective.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We're going to move on to our next question. Riaz, I hope you enjoyed the answers. Thank you so much for submitting that question. If I could take the next question. This has come in from Adelua. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. The project team is usually overlooked. The people at the bottom of the chain doing the actual job needs to be highly valued. Leaders need to approach projects from humanistic perspectives, making sure the team is actually ready to undertake the project. Is the team appreciated enough? Does small wins count? Now, I think you've got 3 questions in there. So it is going to take our panel a little time to answer all of the questions submitted in here. So I'm just going to read this out again. The project team is usually overlooked. The people at the bottom of the chain doing the actual job needs to be highly valued. Leaders need to approach projects from humanistic perspectives, making sure the team is actually ready to undertake the project. Is the team appreciated enough? Does small wins count? We'll go to Jaap first and then Richard.
Okay. What I try is not to... I value the team as high. As a project manager, most of the time I hear from the team that they expect me to solve the problems for them so that they can do their jobs. So, and I did work in several projects where they expected to have an self-steering teams, but most of the cases it didn't work because the specialists say we are specialists, we like our job, we like to invent, we like to develop something, we would like to build something. And it's not we are not trained and we don't like to solve problems. That's for you as a project manager. So I think it is up to the project manager to find the right tone in his team. To say how can you get the most out of your team, but also to protect the team for the angry world outside of the project.
Yeah, fantastic.
Well, the stakeholders. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm going to go to Antonio next and then Richard.
So maybe not directly answering the question, but another thing I'm convinced we can do in the profession differently is most projects that I see in organizations, I would guess the one you're doing, there is no team. Most projects are run by a group of individuals who are working part-time in the project because they have other priorities, other projects, operational duties. And we forgot that we need to create a team. Again, the methodologies don't focus too much on, hey, before starting your project, make sure you make a team. A team doesn't happen by nature or because you sent an email to a group of people and then you have a team. So we forgot an essential step in how we run projects, which is make a team. And making a team doesn't take that much time. It just takes a week or so, but you need to focus on them. So I think as project leaders, if we would put more focus on the team rather than defining the scope and the WBS first define the team, make a team, then we will get much more appreciation, and that will benefit a lot also the execution of the projects.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Antonio. Richard?
Very, very briefly, I think this comes back to what we were saying earlier. It's about culture. I mean, it wouldn't matter if it's a project or whether it's operational. If the people doing the work are not appreciated and respected by the people they're doing the work for, then you're going to have failure. And if you work in a toxic environment, it doesn't matter if it's operational or projects, you're going to have a toxic environment. People aren't going to deliver. As Antonio says, you need a group of committed people. You need a team to deliver it. But it comes from the environment in which you're working.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, panelists. That's great answers. And we're going to move on to our next question because they are stacking up. We've got one from Jazinski. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Regarding benefits for long waterfall projects, planning to achieve benefits may not be realistic due to the rapidly changing environment. So are agile projects with quick benefits the future and an immediate transition to improvement? Give us all a moment to think about this. Richard's going to come and save and then yap.
Okay.
Richard,
I'm not sure all projects can deliver quick wins. So I think we have to be realistic about, what is the natural time needed to deliver something. But I certainly agree that if you can start to deliver wins quickly or benefits quickly, then that motivates the team and it is a benefit to the sponsor and organisation for the project. But I don't know how, if you are going to build a major transportation system, you can have quick wins until you've got the basic infrastructure in place and you've got some functionality within that system. So I'm not sure, again, I don't think it's either waterfall or agile. I think it's about what's the right methodology for the project. And I'm not sure about its quick wins or slow wins. It's about what can you deliver. But if you're focused on benefits, and if you're focused on benefits early, and if you're focused on quality, and that's what everyone is directed to, what everyone delivers against, I think it works out in the end.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Richard. Yep.
Yes, I agree with Richard. I think there is not, the only thing is you can choose for the wrong approach for a certain project. I have seen projects which choose for an agile approach, where it was a complete wrong approach because the organization said all the projects we do are agile. I think as a project manager, as a professional, you have to look what is the best approach for this project, what is the best approach to deliver a successful project. And it should not be about a discussion about a waterfall or agile or a hybrid or whatever we can think of in the next near 10 years. So, it is up to the project team to decide what is the best approach.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Yeah, great answers. We are going to try and squeeze in a few more questions. So can I have the next question, please? Thank you. We've got a question from Adrian. How do we help organisations create a landscape in which projects can thrive rather than be toxic to projects, which they have been for decades? Great question, Adrian. And it's nice to see you in the audience. Who is going to come and help me out with it? Well, help Adrian out with this answer. Richard's going to come in and answer first.
As we're very close to the end, I thought I'd come and help you with a view on that. Yeah, I'm going to be very boring. I think it comes back to, can the senior leadership of an organisation actually set up that environment in which projects are recognised, they're used, project failure is accepted where necessary, project lessons learned are adopted and flow through the organisation. But, Antonia's sort of said it a few times. It's, how do you build the team? How do you build the inclusive nature of the team delivering the project? and it's basic management stuff rather than anything that's particularly complex or technical, in my opinion. But I'll let the author of Harvard Business Review's most widely read project management book answer the question.
Straight over to you, Antonio.
Thank you, Richard. Adrian, good to see you. I think there's things that we can do in the profession. There's things that need to come from the top. And I'm trying to think we're aligned, but I'm trying to put more pressure on leaders to move towards more project-driven organizations. So we've seen operations-driven organizations for hundreds of years. Then we moved into agile organization, which is a bit of, and I think project-driven put the projects at the center. And that's where teams are empowered, projects are delivering value. So I don't know how fast we can go there, but I think that's how we can get the most of what we do. Let's see, there's some companies, big companies, who are really rethinking their operating model towards more project-driven. So maybe that's the next big wave. But then that means that we have to also deliver. We cannot hide before, oh, we didn't have a sponsor. Oh, my project didn't have benefit. No, it's about delivering value and fast if you can. So we will need to step up as well in the way we see ourselves within the organizations. Thanks, Adrian. Good to see you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We are going to squeeze in one more question. So can I take the next one, please? It's come in from Janita. How often do you see the lack of crisis management tools or understanding of crisis management within teams that lead to problems? Oh, Janita, this is a question to finish on. Have we stumped the panel, or is somebody going to come in and rescue me?
Let's see.
Oh, Richard's going to come in again. Thank you, Richard.
I'm not sure that I would know what a crisis management tool is. But certainly, when projects go badly wrong, and you see they're going badly wrong, then you come back to Antonio's comment, I think, early on, and you have to try and stop the project to actually really get your head around it. And we've seen some problems in the UK on infrastructure where things were not going to be delivered, and they changed the top team. And they changed the top team, and the top team can have a reset. So I think in projects, if you realize it's going totally wrong, if the project hits a crisis, you have to stop it. I think you have to change the top team, reevaluate where you are, and get going again. And clearly there are some projects that are life or death, some of the things where you see disasters. But most projects, I think the only real thing is costing money. So you could actually stop it and start again and hopefully get to a better outcome. But that's, if I was in that position, and it was a project that was going to, within my organization, going to cause a huge, huge crisis, stop it, evaluate where you are, and then start again and make those very, very hard decisions. The leadership that got you into it can't get you out of it.
Very, very great quote to end on there, Richard. Thank you so much. Maida, would you like to jump in here?
Yeah, I think I agree with Richard, but I think sometimes the crisis comes not from the organization. I'm also not sure whether what is exactly mean here by crisis management. But I think sometimes the crisis does not come from the team or within the organization itself, but it comes from the stakeholders. Maybe the stakeholders, they are not happy with the project, or there's a resistance or something like that. And I think that the politics, specifically in infrastructure projects, and the politics, I think here plays a very important role. But I think that sometimes it's also out of control of the project team. So yeah, if it's in that situation, I would not leave it with the project team lonely, but it should be the decision should be taken more at the organizational level.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Maida. And Janita, I hope you've enjoyed those answers from the panel today. We have run out of time, I'm afraid, so I'm going to work my way round to the panel to get some closing remarks. But before I do that, I just wanted to thank everybody in the audience for your excellent questions today. Before I go to the closing remarks, we do have one final poll that I would like you to submit your answers. So we're just going to pop that up on your screen now. And if you could just head over and answer that poll, that would be fantastic. And while you guys in the audience are doing that, I'm going to go around the panel and ask for some closing remarks. So Maida, I will start with you. What are your closing remarks from today's show?
I think the very important aspect that we touched upon was the fact that we can learn from previous projects to build our future projects. That's very important. And also together with the top-down approach, the bottom-up approach and decision-making should be in place for driving success.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for joining us on the panel today. It was great to have you here. I'm going to go to Jaap next. If I could take your closing remarks.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I liked all the questions. There were some very hard questions to answer, and also I need time to find an answer to it. I think overall, looking at the type of questions, I think there is an overall need and a search for how to improve the success rate or of the impact of projects. So that is promising. The only thing is now how can we help others to based on our own lessons learned. And I think a solution is to find a way to where more senior people can help younger people to do the project. Projects, even small projects, are much more complicated than when we started our first project 40 years ago. So the world is changing, and it's changing fast. So I think to deliver successful projects, we need to offer our services in some way.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And thank you for appearing on the panel today.
Thank you.
It's great to have you
nice
here.
To be. Yeah.
Thank you. Antonio, if I could take your closing remarks, please.
Sure. I'm watching the clock. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for participating. Thanks for the question. Thanks, APMG, for organizing.
Thank you so much. And thank you for joining us today, Antonio. It's great to have you on the panel. And Richard, if I could have your closing remarks, please, too.
Again, it's a fascinating conversation. Thank you to all the panelists and the audience putting in the questions. I suppose the thing I take away is something that Antonio reminded us of. We should be brave as professionals, and if we don't think that we got the right project and the right support, we should say no.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And thank you to all panelists for sharing your insights today. And thank you in the audience for submitting your questions. They have been fab. So over on our website, you can search for answers to over 3,000 questions, a free resource connecting you with experts from around the world. Just head over to APMG International and you'll be able to find lots of answers. And don't forget, you can also listen to audio versions of our shows on your preferred podcast platform. Just type APMG into your preferred podcast platform provider. There we go. And you will be able to find all of our podcasts. Looking ahead, we have got some great events that I just want to share. We have got on the 9th of October, project management from promise to delivery. And then on the 25th of November at 9 o'clock, we have the BPUG Showcase 2025. So don't forget to go ahead and register for that as well. And on the 25th of November until the 6th of January, we'll have the MOOC, how to elevate the project success rates. So head over to APMG event page to register for these events. Thank you so much. And we will see you on our next event.